Hello and welcome. Andrea here from Sea to Sun. I am here today to talk to you about toxins. We are inundated with toxins all the time, every day, all day. Some of which we have zero control over that we are exposed to. But on the flip side, there are certain toxins that we do have some control over. And that's what we will be talking about today. Why is this important to know about and understand? Because our bodies have to process all of these toxins, and an overload toxicity on our systems causes mitochondrial dysfunction in our cells and inflammation, which then leads to illness, sickness, and disease of all sorts. Cancer, autoimmune. So understanding how we can reduce some of our toxic load on our bodies is a good starting point so that our bodies can thrive at a more optimal level. But in addition to that, if you are sick and trying to heal, you're giving your body better odds to heal itself. Today, I'm going to break down into 4 main categories. First, the air within our homes that we're breathing. Second, the things that we're ingesting, whether we're eating and drinking. Third, the toxins on our skin, the products that we're using on ourselves. And 4, the chemicals that we use to clean our clothing and our homes. This will be easier to break down, and I will go through each of these of the different improvements that I've made. If you are beginning on your health and wellness journey and have not thought of these things like I hadn't years ago, then this will give you some pointers, and you can pick 1 or 2 things that seems that is a priority for you and your family and start there. So I want to start off by saying that everyone's going to have a different base knowledge on where they're starting out in their health journeys with the kinds of toxins that they may be exposing themselves to. I am going to go through things that I personally have learned over the years that I wish I had known many years before that would have been beneficial for me to have started much sooner. In addition to that, I will be mentioning certain brands of things that I use. I am not getting paid for any of these. These are just things that work for me and that may be beneficial for you to look up or consider some type of thing in similarity to what I mentioned. But I'm not getting this is not a product placement ad whatsoever. So moving forward, the air that we're breathing in our homes, what are things that we can do to improve that? The first thing is that I started making sure that I was opening my doors and windows as often as possible to air out my home. We don't realize how many chemicals, just the paint on our walls, the glues that are used on our floors, the stains on our cabinets, everything is toxic, not to mention the chemicals used and the materials used on our furniture that we're sitting on every day as well. So being able to air out your home is really important if you can at different times of the year, depending on where you live. I use fans. And then the other main thing I started doing, of course, was air purifiers. Very beneficial. Make sure you're changing your filters as needed with your air purifiers. Don't forget to do this on a regular basis. In addition to that, also make sure you're running them at night when you're sleeping. It's really important for you to get good sleep, and this will help bring down the different allergens, dust, pet dander that's in your home if you do own pets, So air purifiers, when you can afford to get them, are very important. The next thing I did is I stopped using those amazing smelling Glade oil plugins that were not only permeating my lungs, but my walls, my clothes, everything. These are not good for you, nor are most candles. There may be a few exceptions. I have just stopped completely using candles and melting pots. I loved melting all of my waxes and having good smells throughout the seasons, and I've stopped doing that as well. They just are adding more contaminants to the air that I don't need. Next, I started making sure I was turning on my vents on my stove when I was cooking. I didn't realize what a huge pollution this is on a regular basis. Obviously, we're going, for any of us that are cooking the majority of our meals at home, use your vents. Make sure you're turning those fans on. This is a huge part of our in-home air pollution. In addition, if you have animals, and everyone is going to pick and choose their battles of what's important and their priorities for themselves, but just realize that animals add a big load on your system with the dander and the germs that they're bringing in to the home, especially if it's a dog and it's been outside and then it's running around on grass that has fertilizer, and then it comes into your home. They're tracking all of that in. So it's, in addition to that, important to take your shoes off so you're not tracking in chemicals and dirt and whatever else is on the ground and throughout the entire home for you to be absorbing. It can also be very beneficial to run your fans, if you have fans in your bathrooms. I run mine all the time now, not just when I'm in the bathroom or showering. I want to eliminate as much moisture as possible as I can. I am recovering from toxic mold issues that have been very, very, very debilitating, and this can help lowering your amounts of mold to some degree. The drier you can keep your home and not have too much humidity and moisture on a constant basis. I also use on a weekly basis a mold fogger. This is all natural chemicals, non-toxic for your home. Not only does it help with keeping mold at bay, but it also helps with allergens and dust, mites, and pet dander. So this is something that's very beneficial for people that are more sensitive, or if you are trying to heal from some serious mold poisoning, this would be very beneficial for you to get as well. The next thing is number 2, the things that we are consuming, the things that we're eating and drinking, of course, have a lot of bad chemicals for many people. We need to just be aware of the things that we're consuming. Even vegetables and fruit and water can be contaminated. To name just a few, there are pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, fungicides, and numerous other chemicals that come through in our food and water, in addition to fluoride, chlorine, that all wreak havoc on our systems over time. So how do we start eliminating some of these and improving our food and water? Well, you can start out by buying organic foods. That is very helpful. You're at least reducing the amount of chemicals that you're consuming, and start making sure that you're drinking better quality water, whatever that means for you. Of course, fresh spring water would be amazing to have for everyone, but that can be unrealistic. I personally use a 3-filter system for my drinking water. It clears each of the filters are unique and clean out different particles and chemicals. Once I'm done with that, I then add it to a thing called a Mayu swirl. The Mayu swirl then reoxygenates the water and it restructures the water. So what does that mean and what does that do? That helps your body absorb the water better. It hydrates you easier because your cells can take in the structured water easier. So it's beneficial for that. In addition to that, I then add electrolytes and minerals to my water as well. If you can, reverse osmosis systems are amazing as well, whether it's a full house system or a countertop machine. Keep in mind, if you're using reverse osmosis and then you're going to be drinking that water, you also need to remineralize that as well. Because number 3, the things that we are using on our skin, hair, nails, on our body that our skin is absorbing. Keep in mind, our skin is the biggest organ and is being subjected to things all day long. I had no idea for so many years the horrible things that I was putting on my body on a regular basis, and it was just because of a lack of knowledge. So let me share some of the things that I started changing for myself. The first was changing the types of deodorants I was using all natural lotions, or as close to as possible. Being careful what types of serums I was using on my face. And most importantly, I think that was so damaging to myself that I have changed is sunscreens. So many normal sunscreens that are sold in typical pharmacies and stores are not organic and have a lot of carcinogens. So here I was thinking that I was doing something good to keep skin cancer away while I was adding a bunch of other carcinogens to my body on a regular basis. I live in sunny, warm climates and use sunscreen on a daily basis. I now only use all natural, organic, Ayurvedic types of sunscreens. You can find them online. You can find some of them in a Sprouts store. There are different ones, but you want to be checking your ingredient labels because your normal sunscreens that we're used to seeing, that everybody is used to, are very, very damaging to our bodies. Just be aware of that. I wish I had known that many years prior. Start paying attention to things that are highly perfumed and or possibly have color dyes added to them as well. Again, being aware of your ingredient labels of your different things that you're putting on the skin is important. I also stopped using mouthwash and fluoride toothpaste. These wreak havoc on our systems, but it really does a number on our microbiomes. And our gut gets really messed up from the fluoride and mouthwash. So be aware of that. If you do, especially if you have stomach problems, this may really be a good starting point for you. Stop the mouthwash. You can do oil pulling, which is like you use coconut oil and rinse your mouth with a pure organic coconut oil. But mouthwash is not good, nor is fluoride. I now am very aware also of the types of soaps that I use. I use a cast iron soap, a glycerin, olive oil based, oatmeal, honey, coconut oil based. And in addition to that, I use a lot of those oils as well on my skin in lieu of actual old school lotions that are a typical lotion. Some lotions are fine, just check your ingredient labels and they're organic and natural. But at night, I prefer to use a variety of different oils on my skin. that, for one, they hydrate me better, but they're good for your skin in addition to making your skin less dry. So some of those are jojoba oil, almond oil, castor oil, coconut oil. These are skin-friendly oils that will not be damaging when you have dry skin. We then get into, of course, the topic of makeup for women and men that may use it. We also get into the nail polish and fake nails, and these are things to just be aware of. Again, I'm going to still wear makeup. I'm just more aware of the healthier types of makeup to use now. I still occasionally put nail polish on. I just don't do it all the time. I did stop wearing fake nails because of all of the chemicals that I was sitting and exposing myself to on a regular basis to get my nails done. So everyone's gonna have different priorities of what is important for them and what isn't. So these are just things that I was willing to give up. Hair dyes. There are hair dyes that are much more toxic than others, and I have now started using less toxic hair dyes. Are they perfect? No, there's still some maybe chemicals that aren't great, but I'm using much, much higher quality hair dyes than I used to. Also, stop using aerosol anything, whether it's with your cleaning stuff or your hairsprays, right? I still occasionally will use hairspray. I use more natural organic hairsprays that are in a pump bottle now. I never buy anything with aerosol. So these are just things to think about when you're at the store, because we are creatures of habit and we've used the same thing or the same brand for years and years, and being exposed to some new different things that can help you reduce your toxicity load are important. Number 4, the chemicals that we use to do our laundry and our cleaning within the home. So I was the #1 offender for horrible laundry detergents and any and every laundry softener, fabric softener I could think of that smelled amazing. And these were really, really bad for my system. They can trigger allergies, they can trigger skin rashes, they can do a lot of different things, in addition to being the hormone disruptors and endocrine disruptors that they are. So keep that in mind. I was using a laundry detergent that I won't mention the name of that is not good for your body and skin. And in addition to that, I would use not only a liquid fabric softener that smelled great, but then I would often add beads that smelled good. And then I would, to top it off, put in softeners that were smelly, that were the sheets. So I stopped using all fabric softeners, period. That was an easy fix, get rid of it, and it was saving me a lot of money. That was a nice bonus. In addition to that, I now use an all-organic, plant-based laundry detergent, and it works great. And if I need a laundry booster, I will use baking soda often. If I am worried about some extra added toxins or mold that I think I have maybe been exposed to or that was on my clothing, I make sure I add white vinegar. The other thing you can do is add borax as a laundry booster. So some of these are much, 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 much better for you and also work well. Think about reducing or changing some of the things you're doing with your laundry detergents and softeners. In addition to that comes just general cleaning products. I used to use everything that was terrible for cleaning products. I now use white vinegar, I use baking soda, I use rubbing alcohol, I use hydrogen peroxide, I use simple green sometimes, but I've now reduced everything to where, for one, I'm not using anything aerosol, and two, these are all natural and non-toxic things that I'm not only saving my lungs from inhaling the fumes, but when you are cleaning, I'm not absorbing that in my skin either anymore. Occasionally, you may have a really hard thing that you have to clean and you have to pull out something more industrious. Okay, I get that. But on a daily basis, I no longer use any harsh chemicals for cleaning. So that sums up some of the suggestions that I have for people if you're beginning and you really don't know where to start, but you know that there's room for improvement. If you're an expert on this stuff, then you may be doing everything I've suggested plus a billion other things that I haven't gone into. And there's always more that you're learning, there's always more that I'm trying, and there's always things that I'm improving on. But if you are beginning out, this will give you a few things that you can pick that might be easy for you to focus on. Again, this was broken down into the things that we're breathing in our homes, the things that we're ingesting in our systems by our food, drinks, and water, the things that we're putting on ourselves and washing ourselves with and hydrating ourselves with, and then all of the cleaning products that we use commonly in the United States that are terrible for our bodies. I would challenge any and all of you to take one thing that you think would be easy enough for you to start changing and add things as you see fit, and the more that you may find beneficial for yourself. I look at our bodies when a couple years back, before I had started doing any of these things, like I was a toxic bathtub. My poor body was like a toxic bathtub, just full to the brim. And if we can little by little start emptying that toxic load and start draining that bathtub, that allows our bodies and our cells to thrive and work properly and heal ourselves better. Again, we can't control all of the toxins that we're going to be exposed to. So these are some of the things that we do have control over, that we can take an immediate step towards improvement. I hope this helps. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.